Whenever I come across Myron Gaines and Pearl Davis, and I have not seen Pearl Davis in a while. I've just recently started seeing some of her stuff, her, post or whatever. But whenever I come across these two people, I can't help but think of the black manosphere, right? I recently saw Myron Gaines on a Piers Morgan clip. Myron Gaines was on there with some other people. Of course, Myron Gaines was supporting the First Amendment, right? And he was supporting speech that would be seen as, slurs, and particularly the topic surrounded that lady, Shiloh Hendricks. If you don't know who Shiloh Hendricks is, look her up. But that's the clip I saw with Myron Gaines on the Piers Morgan show recently, right? And I recently saw a post by Pearl Davis, right? Hannah Pearl Davis. And whenever I see these two people online, I cannot help but think about the black manosphere. The black manosphere was simply tokens for these two people, right? That black manosphere group tapped, danced, shucked, and jived, grinned, and licked boots of these two people in an unbelievable way, in my opinion. I'm just saying, I don't know if some of this material is still out there, but they praised and worshiped these two people, and for awful reasons, right? It is because these two people repeated anti-black American woman rhetoric that the black manosphere created, right? I know it sounds bizarre. They repeated awful anti-black woman rhetoric that the black manosphere created, right? And now they've turned against the black manosphere, the same group of men that catapulted them into internet notoriety. Isn't that something? I mean, if you've heard of the modern woman, that's another black manosphere creation in a way, right? Listen, all I'm saying is, it's so bizarre how the black manosphere were clueless, had poor insight, no critical thinking skills, no common sense, or maybe they just didn't care. But they should have known that eventually they would be included. The first time that I ever saw Pearl Davis was in a Kevin Samuels clip. She was on his show before, right? And I then learned that she had actually been under Kevin Samuels' tutelage, that she had hired him as a consultant to help her. And when you hear her rhetoric, he clearly had an effect on her, right? This modern women thing. Interestingly, although the black manosphere members, many of them held this lady to the highest esteem, they liked what she was saying, although she did not represent the characteristics that she talked about were desirable in women. She's the opposite of it. How is she the opposite of what she spoke of? This lady is college educated. She's an entrepreneur and a businesswoman and has made a lot of money off of black American males, right? This lady is independent, right? She does have feminist attributes. She's not married. She has no children. She is not a stay-at-home wife. She's quite verbal and vocal, right? So this tells you that these guys either were willfully blind or not bright, or just enjoyed the fact that when this lady had conversations on her show, it would actually include black women that she would speak in opposition of, and with those shows ultimately having a type of rhetoric that demeaned the black woman that was on that show. And this type of demeaning, it's very important to many of the men within this or under this umbrella of the black manosphere, right? This same guy, Myron Gaines, one of the things he often spoke about was not dating black women, right? Not liking them, black women being undesirable. He also, had some issues with what it seems to be independent black women, women with a thought process, right? These are things that the black manosphere upholds, right? I've seen this throughout the years online. It's quite amazing. I even saw a clip where Kevin Samuels was on their show, right? And they repeat some of the Kevin Samuels high value men, modern women rhetoric, right? It's nuts. These same two people have not too long ago, right? Not this year, but maybe last year, the year before or something, supported alt-right activists, right? Alt-right activists. I recently saw Myron Gaines on a Piers Morgan show, right? Supporting rhetoric that would be perceived as slurs and anti-black, right? This lady, Pearl Davis, recently shared through a post that, she wished the black community would stop committing the crimes. And we know that within the black community, that the main leaders in crime, committing crime, are black American men, right? So it just is what it is. These people can do what they want, but it's amazing that Myron Gaines, when having conversation about black American men or at black American men, he likes to reference low IQ. So those men that catapulted him into success aren't seen as bright by Myron Gaines. They're not seen as even having common sense, and certainly aren't seen as being intellectual in any way. He references low IQ. Now, I don't think it's smart at all that some of the lens that some of these men under this umbrella of men that I'm talking about supported these people in the first place. Because the reason why they supported them, because these people, this man was demeaning black American women. It's out there. This is what was going on, right? It's just really odd because within this group of black American men, they will talk about how much they are desired across the globe. At first, they would talk about how much non-black women in America just love and go after them, right? However, I guess this rhetoric didn't work out, and there is a group of them that discovered a passport. They're going overseas to hook up with women. Yet you're so desirable. Imagine being so desirable that you have to go overseas to hook up with women that many of them, if not most, are experiencing a disparity in being economically and financially stable, right? It's nuts. It's backwards in thought process, but it feeds into rhetoric that they're not so bright. It feeds into dialogue that makes them, some of these men, look like tap dancing, boot licking, disgruntled underachievers that have no agency, that are anti even black men within the black community because they are misleading, right? Some of the younger groups of black men that will find out eventually, that the information delivered to them by these group of men, it's not so much. It's not so helpful, but it's just interesting that these two people are still around and they have turned on the group of men that catapulted them into success. Social nurse.